everything has changed. Hi everyone, I am back, and tonight I'm going to be reviewing part 1 and part 2 of the Real Housewives of Miami reunion. So I'm just going to jump right into it because I'm doing both parts and I don't want this video to be an hour long. So let's do it. Alright, so just to start off, I just want to quickly say the girls looked great as a whole. I think they outdid all the other Housewives franchises. I mean, some were better than others, but they all look great as a whole. I'm just gonna give you some of my faves. Gertie, you finally had a good wig on. You looked 10 out of 10. Alexia, I love the dress. I love Marisol's straight gold with the neck thing. I love that. Lisa looked great. Some honorable mentions. I thought Lars's dress was cool. I wish she had like her hair up or something like, or like a shorter do. It was all right. It was all right. I feel like I would like that on like a Kiki type of body, but she looked good. Yeah, her dress was nice. Julia's was okay. I didn't really care for Nicole's. I love the color though. Adriana, the color was pretty. The dress, it's a little too matronly for you. Am I missing anybody? Probably. I think I got them. All right. So, Lisa walks in last. She is late and she looks really good. She's starting to get rid of the fillers, which is nice, so we could see more of her, because Lisa's a naturally pretty girl. She needs to stuff her face like this. Like, she's a naturally pretty girl. A lot of these girls, nobody on this show is naturally ugly. So, I think she's looking great. Set's gorgeous. It's based off of the Versace mansion. Great set. It was great. I loved it. They first start off the reunion with a shot, which is unique to Miami. Hopefully this will be like a Miami tradition. I love that. So now getting in to the actual reunion. Okay, so they start off with the main girls before Adriana and Marisol get in. So Alexia, they start off with Alexia and they just do some small talk. You know how they do at the beginning of the reunion. So Alexia talks about eloping, which congratulations to her. And then talks briefly about Peter's domestic violence charges. She claims he's innocent and the charges have since been dropped, aka him and the girl probably got back together. That's how it always is. She says that they're denying the charges. I do believe that women can lie, but from what I understand, there was a neighbor that saw it, so I don't understand how, you know, the charges, how you can deny something like that. I mean, I get he's your son, but if it is true that this neighbor did witness it, then it's going to be hard for him to plead not guilty. But the charges were dropped, so it's fine. That's how these couples are nowadays. They beat each other up, press charges, and drop the charges, all because somebody said, all because the person said, I'm sorry. That's it. Anyway, Andy had a point. He was like, it's not the first time Peter got arrested for a violent charge. He did hit a homeless person years ago. And Alexia had a point, and I do think this can contribute to it. I also think that Peter has a lot of trauma in general, but seeing Frankie almost die and being in a coma for 6 months, yeah, I can see how a growing boy, I think he was a teenager at the time, going through adolescence, you know, can, you know, misplace his anger to hit somebody when his brother's nearly dying in the hospital. It's not right. I'm not condoning it, but she had a kind of a point, but I don't think it's an excuse. I think Peter's a bit of a jerk. Just saying. All right. So then Nicole's engaged. She shows off her ring like this. So the girls, and they talk about this later on in the reunion. The girls and Andy were a little confused because, you know, her thing coming onto the show was, I don't need to get married, you know. I can call him my husband, but we don't have to physically really get married, yada, yada, yada. And I get what Nicole was saying, you know, whether she has a ring or not, she's happy regardless, she doesn't need it. But Nicole, the way you were talking, you know, talking your big talk this whole season, especially the beginning of the season, you were talking as if you don't need marriage. Now, I do agree, and which what you're saying, I do understand. It's like, you're happy with Anthony, so whether you're married or not, you're staying regardless. Like it's optional. I think that's what she was trying to say. It's optional for her. If she gets engaged and married, fine. But if she doesn't, it's fine as well. So she says. But like I said, it's a little bit of a contradiction because of how you were wording yourself during the whole season. But we'll get to that later. So then they jump straight into the wedlock comments. Of course, Julia's upset. So Larsa talks about having, I guess, the kid at the wedlock, yada, yada, yada. Okay. I rant enough about this and I'm tired of talking about it. But Nicole did have a point. She's like, everybody has their way of creating a family. Andy had his way. You know, when she mentioned Andy, everybody got quiet. She had her way. Julia had her way, yada, yada, yada. I do get what she's saying. But, and I was getting a little frustrated because Larsa couldn't get to finish. Larsa was trying to make a point saying, you know, that's a big deal to me. But I didn't judge you for it. So it just, I think this whole wedlock thing is taken out of context. I think saying stuff like that also is a trigger point for a lot of people. Like, you're saying, Larsa's like, I didn't have, you guys had kids out of wedlock and I didn't judge you. And they're taking it as an insult, but she doesn't mean it as an insult, but they're taking it. I feel like people need to open their ears. But I do understand why that'll weird people out. Like, so what? I had a kid out of wedlock. Why would you think that's something, you know, to judge on? Like, why would you think that somebody would possibly judge me for that? And you're like some angel because you didn't judge me for it. So it's a weird thing. But whatever. I'm over it. I've talked about it for too many videos at this point. But Nicole, or was it Julia that said this? You know, Larsa, you do sell pictures of your body. So you want to talk about, you know, this marriage, just, you know, doing everything with your husband and this one family household, but you sell pictures of your bodies to other guys. You know? All right. So then they take a break. And then Nicole, during the break, shades Larsa by saying, this is the same girl that thinks that a resume is who you marry and how many kids you procreate. She is right, though. I mean, Larsa, I remember the season you kept saying, you know, I had the best resume of all these girls. I'm like, girl, that's not what a resume is. I guess for a basketball wife, but for regular people that have jobs, a resume is your personal accomplishments without needing a man. Just saying. You know, education, you know, stuff like that. But whatever. Okay, break's over. Marisol and Adriana join in. Okay. Marisol needs to sell that cup. That bedazzled cup. She needs to. So then they go into, you know, it's been an 8-year gap. These girls have changed. And then they go into the before and after. So I wrote in my notes, Alexia looks different. Marisol looks the same, just different makeup. Lisa looks different. Adriana looks different. She needs to go back to that dark hair. And Larsa, girl. Alexia, you had your lips done. I don't know why you couldn't admit that. But anyway, let's go to Larsa. Larsa, you do look like a completely different person. So she says she got her nose and her lips done. I think she got more done to her face and her nose and lips. I mean, lots of fillers, but I guess fillers don't count as plastic surgery, whatever. And she said she got her boobs. So then Andy was like, okay, and your butt? She's like, no, my butt is real. Okay, Larsa. I do think in comparison to all these other girls with BBLs and the ant-sized booties, yours looks more natural. But I do think that you got something enhanced, even a little bit. Even if 90% of that booty is real, I do think you added a little touch to it. It's not bad. I don't think you look like an ant like your former best friend, but I think you added something to it. I don't know. Oh, but whatever. Larsa says she's progressive. She goes with the times and she likes the way she looks. And then her and Adriana starts going in it. She's like, I'm athletic and you're not. I was like, okay. So then the girls and Andy talk about how you look very Kim K-esque. I don't think, actually, I do think she looks very Kim K-esque. People keep saying she looks like Kim. I think there's an esque about her, but I do agree overall. And then Andy says you even start to talk like her. And Larsa didn't make a good point. She said that we've been best friends for 14 years. You pick up on the same lingo after a while. Okay, that's a good argument, Larsa. I don't know if I believe that 100%, but that is a good argument. All right. So then there's a break, and then all the girls during the break, even Larsa's friends, talk about Larsa's butt. Alexia's like, you think Larsa's butt is real? Like, nobody on that couch believed her. And then Nicole and her gang talk about it, and nobody believes her. So, girl, just say, like, you enhanced it a little bit. That's my thing. Like, just say you added a little touch to it. I don't think it's 100% fake. I don't think you did, like, implants. I think you touched it up, though. Anyway, so the girls, the break's over. And then it goes into the Gertie and Adriana fight back in, I think it was episode 4, back when I was doing that long rant in that other video. Gertie, you know, now I apologize to you, Gertie, for that video, because I understand why you were being so annoying that episode. Adriana was being annoying too. Both of them were. But Gertie, you had a reason for being annoying. Adriana didn't. So Gertie pretty much admitted that she was being spiteful. She was annoyed at Adriana for picking on her that night, so she got some revenge by bringing up the foot massage. I'm like, you know what, I actually do respect that. A, you were being honest. B, that's a human reaction. You're going to try to be petty back. And I didn't expect that out of Miss Gertie, Miss Goody Two-Shoes. So I was like, you know, Gertie, you the best dress of the night. You look great. You're pretty. You're a hardworking woman. You might be my favorite next season. I'm just saying. I like that. I couldn't get mad. All right, so then Andy asks Adriana and Julia, how does Martina feel about the relationship? Julia says Martina loves it. I'm going to leave that up to you guys if you guys really think Martina really loves this relationship. I don't think Adriana and Julia are as touchy-feely off camera. I think it's just to, you know, be scandalous for the cameras and for ratings. Because Adriana, not for nothing, knows how to bring up the drama and knows what needs to be done for ratings. I mean, if you guys look at my channel, you guys see what my highest rated video is. And that was all from Adriana. I'll even take credit to that. Adriana did that. So she knows what to do. She understands the assignment, I think, better than anybody. So then they talk about that awkward moment that I was pissed off at Gertie too back in that episode 4 when Gertie out of nowhere, she didn't mean it, but she pushed Julia to talk about her son's death and kept interrupting her, talking about her own miscarriage. I'm glad that Gertie apologized. It was really inappropriate because it's like, miscarriages are terrible, but it's like, it almost felt like you're trying to one-up her. And then Gertie did admit you didn't know, that she didn't know. And you didn't know, Gertie. And it just became it was really awkward, that whole scene. And I'm happy Adriana pulled Julia to the side and told her, you don't have to say this on camera. I appreciated that. And I appreciate Julia for having the courage to say something like that on camera. Because I don't know if I was in her shoes, I would be able to say that. But you know what? Gertie, like I said, she apologized. Timing was bad. She didn't know. They moved on. Julia has no hard feelings. They move on. Another break happens. Marisol has to pee. And when she pees so many times during this friggin' reunion. But when they come out from break, Larsa and her OnlyFans conversation starts. So Adriana says that she was going to do an OnlyFans. And said that she asked her son. Her son said no because it's pornographic. I believe she talked to her son about that, but I also believe she was trying to insinuate something about Larsa, and Larsa picked up on that and got real defensive. Larsa got real defensive. I hit a button because she's like, don't do that. Don't do that. Because she said, you know, Adriana was like, my son wouldn't approve of that. And then, you know, as an audience member, you're like, well, does Larsa's children approve of that? Because they're old enough to know what OnlyFans is. And if Larsa's kids don't approve of that, why is she doing that? Why is she disobeying her children? You know, stuff like that pops up. So Larsa got defensive and tried to shut that down. Larsa also says that she doesn't do nudes. I believe that because we could probably would have saw it already. But she says, you want to come at me for doing OnlyFans, but you literally get naked on the show. She has a point. You won't do OnlyFans because your son says no, but how would your son feel about you getting naked on the show and flashing your boobs, every episode? Both of them have their points. All right. So now we get into Larsa's divorce. I've said this before. Larsa, you've been divorcing Scotty for so long. I'm happy it's over now. It was like for real. But they were together for a very long time. Since she was 21. And Larsa's damn near 50. And this divorce just was finalized within the last, 2 months, I think. So that's a long time to be with somebody. And to have 4 kids with them, that is a long time. And then Andy asks, was your relationship with Scotty over because of Future, the rapper? And she said no, they were long gone over by then. So then there's a break, and then Marisol has to pee again. So the girls gather back, and Andy asks Julia, can you bring Martina on Watch What Happens Live? Which she does end up going on Watch What Happens Live. So I guess that's how that conversation started. Andy was just being a little fangirl with Larsa and Julia during some of these breaks. Break is over, and then the Julia segment starts, and they say that, Julia is the first housewife in a same-sex marriage, which is great. And then they quickly go into how Julia's son died. I don't really want to get into it too much because it's a very dark thing, but she got with this very, very rich and powerful investment banker. They hired a nanny. Next minute, the baby dies or gets into a coma and then dies. And then, I can't remember how long after her baby daddy dies. From after the conversation, it seems like her baby daddy set her kid up to get killed. I don't really want to talk too much about that on YouTube, especially. It's just too dark for me to talk about. And I don't even know what to say about that other than that's just disgusting. I don't even care that the baby daddy's dead. Like, he got shot to death in some bondage thing because it's just that little boy died. So I want to move on from that, but I do feel for Julia for that. Like, that's so painful. So moving on to Nicole's segment. Then we jump into Nicole segment. They jump into Marisol versus Nicole. And then Nicole, and I'm sorry, but Nicole wasn't winning me over with this argument. Nicole was saying that this he said, she said beef thing that Marisol and her have started with somebody that both of them know that was talking, that was, how am I supposed to say this, telling Marisol that Nicole was saying all this stuff about people. And something along the lines of Nicole was getting her house done by Marisol's best friend. And he was asking her, what do you think of Lisa's house? Now, it was weird because the 3 girls, Alexia, Marisol, and Lisa were all like, but Marisol's best friend doesn't even know Lisa. So how's that conversation going to happen? How does he know how Lisa's house looks like? So yeah, that didn't make any sense either. And then she was trying to make a point, and it wasn't really making sense. Because I'm like, you're bringing up Marisol's best friend that you both know, but if Marisol's best friend doesn't know Lisa, how does that prove that you weren't talking a bunch of mess behind Lisa's back? So then, because Lisa, was it this or was it dinner with Alexia was saying? Because Nicole was pretty much saying that was Marisol's best friend that was lying. So then Alexia interjects and says, no, let's be honest. You and I were at dinner. You were talking about Lisa and saying that her house is poorly decorated. Her tiles look Chinese, or whatever that means. And Lisa's like, no, my tiles are not Chinese. I have the bill. Nothing is cheap in there. And then Nicole deflects, like, guys, come on. We're talking about furniture here. We're arguing about furniture. This is silly. You are right. It is silly, but I am questioning these stories on both ends, like the validity of both stories. I didn't really get what she was trying to say with Marisol's best friend. I'm curious to learn more about that dinner with Alexia, whatever. And then Andy X. Has anybody here heard Nicole talking about them? Nobody raises their hand. So this is just I don't even know whose side to take at this point. All right. So then Nicole says, I swear I heard Alexia saying that Marisol married Steve out of desperation to be on the show or whatnot. This is what I think. I think that, Alexia, of course, was telling Nicole about all the girls. I do think Alexia said something like that, but I do think it's a little twisted. I think that, because even Marisol was agreeing, yeah, I really was desperate to be on the show, things like that. I think it's something somewhere in the middle. I do think that Alexia was saying something, and she may have said it in the wrong way, possibly, but I just think it's twisted. Because I think what Alexia was trying to say to Nicole was Marisol was upset that she didn't get maybe the full-time position because she wanted her storyline to be that she married this guy. So, and she was really desperate for that to be her storyline. I think she said something like that. I don't think, the way Nicole twisted it, I don't think she said it like that. I'm going to be honest. All right. So then, there's a little argument, and then part 2. All right. So, part 2, I was hoping they would at least show more of that argument, but they cut to a whole different segment. Peacock loves to just cut things out and get straight to the point, which I like, but I also almost don't like because I kind of miss the details. But anyway, so we talk about Nicole's engagement. All right, Nicole, you shady. Because you got engaged on New Year's Eve, and since New Year's Eve, from the moment you came out with that People's Magazine shoot, Lisa has called you off camera just to talk to you 3 times in between that. That's a lot of time for grown women to speak with each other 3 times between that and whenever the People Magazine cover came out. And you didn't tell her you were engaged? That's kind of shady. And then she's like, oh yeah, because my publicist told me not to say anything until the magazine article came out. I'm like, what are we, 5? And even one of the girls said that, what are we, in the 3rd grade? Lisa's a grown married woman. She's not going to gossip around town saying, yeah, Nicole is engaged. And if, Nicole, it's not that serious. You're engaged to your baby daddy. It's not like you got up and married some random guy. I thought that was really shady that you were engaged all this time and you just smiled in Lisa's face and didn't even mention that. Now, that is shady. And she's just playing dumb, my PR, my publicist told me to not do that and to wait for the article to come out. I'm like, okay. And then she was trying to compare it to Alexia, saying, Alexia didn't tell us when she got married. Girl, everybody knew Alexia was going to get married. Everybody knew Alexia was going to get married towards the end of that year. That don't compare. And even Alexia was like, don't compare that. That's apples to oranges. When Alexia got married, nobody was surprised. And she didn't go on TV like, I'm never getting married. I don't need that. You did that. So, seriously. And then Marisol said something I forgot, but she said, I worked in PR before. This is just a typical, PR stunt. I can't remember, but she said something like that. And I thought she had a point as well. So then Marisol says, look, Nicole, it's not that I don't like you, because Nicole was trying to be like, you texted me on December 23rd saying, great job. You're doing great. And Marisol admitted to it. And she's like, Nicole, it's not that I don't like you. I just don't trust you. It takes me a long time to trust. It took me and Larsa 10 years to grow a friendship. I can see that and I understand that. Especially since, Nicole, you were shady as hell with that PR thing. The fact that Lisa's talking to you, you're not even telling her. But whatever, moving on. Nicole then talks about her trash can of a father. And pretty much on Thanksgiving, he brought a turkey for Anthony to cook, and then he went and brought it to his girlfriend's house. He's trash. I don't even want to talk about him. And he doesn't need to walk her down the aisle either. Like, can we get over that? If you have toxic parents, don't invite them in your sacred home, your sacred aura. Who cares? Anyway. Then they go to Lisa. Lisa was talking about how Alexia gets too defensive, and I was with Andy because he looked confused. He's like, she's not defensive, she's just Cuban. I don't think she's defensive either. I think Lisa's just being a little overly sensitive. And unfortunately, Lisa couldn't finish her sentence because Alexia was talking over her. I don't think Alexia is being defensive. She's just talking. I don't understand. Lisa's a little sensitive to me. Okay, so then the girls talk about how Marisol, Julia was drunk and sick at the Hamptons. All the girls think it was alcohol related. Julia doesn't really fully answer what was wrong. It was alcohol. Just say you had a really bad hangover. But anyway, it's fine. The girls take a break. Marisol has to go pee again. And breaks over. And it's Lisa's segment. This segment saw a different side to the whole Lisa Lenny situation. Lenny seems very cold. And Lisa was really built to be a trophy wife. Because Lisa was saying Lenny threatened her with divorce because he feels like she wasn't getting pregnant seriously. I'm like, and it caused a lot of issues. And then he told her he doesn't love her. That's so cold. Over what? Over not having kids? Oh, God, that trophy wife lifestyle. You marry these rich people. It's like if you can't reproduce, you're nothing. And that's really what Lenny showed. Is like, if you can't have my family and expand my legacy, you're done. And then Lisa said something interesting, that when they separated, she had Leah Black. Leah, if you guys know, who was a housewife in the past seasons. I didn't like Leah, but it was nice that Leah was actually nice and seemed genuine to Lisa in that time of need. I also learned this. Now, forgive me, but the way Lisa was going about this emotional affair is that it happened before the separation. They were already separated and then he had an affair. I'm sorry. I don't know. I thought it was the other way around. Maybe it's the way she was saying it. Okay, so he cheated. He was talking to some girl, I guess, online or whatever for a little bit. I'm gonna move on. When they're asking about the current state of their marriage, Lisa says that Lenny got to check himself, and I do agree. It's like, you think you're acting one way, but when somebody's recording you and you see yourself on TV, you really see like, wow, I really am a jerk. Oh my God, I really do talk too much. Oh, I really do need to work on things. So I'm hoping that continues for Lenny and Lisa and their marriage, and Lenny could really self-reflect properly now that he sees himself on camera again, and they can fix things. They come back from break, and then they talk about the actor that Larsa dated, that she just goes by MJ. Everybody thinks it's Michael B. Jordan. This is Larsa when they ask, is it Michael B. Jordan? Yeah, she didn't say a word. All right, so then we're going to Alexia. All right, let's start with Alexia and Herman. So Alexia, as we all know now, Herman was gay. When Alexia first started dating Herman, she said she heard rumors. And then one time she saw something inappropriate. What that was, I don't know. She confronted them about it. They all denied it. And then it wasn't until he died where she found out that Herman bought his male lover, a house. So girls kind of get on Adriana because Adriana said an inappropriate comment early in the season, like, hey, I heard he died having sex with his lover, which turned out to not be true. And Adriana was like, Alexia and I, we talked about it. And Alexia's like, we didn't talk about it. But she apologized. It is what it is. Alexia says she's not mad with Herman. She also says that Frankie now has seizures. I feel so bad. I mean, I guess it was inevitable, but he now is having seizures and has to up his medication. So that's, oh God, I feel so bad. Because Frankie was a normal guy, and then the accident, and now he's never, like Alexia says, he's never going to be able to live on his own. But let me move on. I don't want to get too sad. So now we have to talk about Kanye's dick. So Larsa says I spoke to Kanye and he says that Adriana's a liar. And even Marisol agrees. She's like, Kanye walks around with security everywhere. He doesn't even go to the bathroom by himself. So how the hell is Adriana going to see his dick? Even Marisol says I've worked with celebrities before and they all have security with them at all times. So then Adriana's like, I have a receipt. Girl, that wasn't a receipt. Adriana's receipt was her literally bringing a picture of her and Kanye, and Andy was like, you just look like a fan, you know, taking a picture of with Kanye in the hallway, because it was just a picture of her and Kanye shaking hands like cheese, like, hey Kanye, can you get a picture? That doesn't prove that you saw his dick. It just proves that you met him briefly in the hallway one time. Like, it's just a picture of you and him. That isn't, like, we want to see something, you in the bathroom at least, with Kanye in the background. That's a receipt. You just taking pictures with Kanye, that's no different from anybody else. All right. And Adriana doesn't have any boundaries, and the girls say it. Because it's like, if Larsa's boundary is the Kardashians and Kanye, let's respect that. So then Adriana plays victim, says, but Larsa, you call me mental, bipolar, this or that. Adriana, you started it. The first episode, you literally kicked off the first episode insulting Larsa in the confessionals and in her own home. Miss me with that. All right. Then Julia chimes in, being petty as hell. Oh, I was sick and all you cared about was your event. It was her event. You came to her event and started throwing up everywhere. Anyway, petty. And then Nicole asks, oh, is there like an NDA with the Kardashians? And Larsa's like, no. I'm like, can everybody stop asking about the Kardashians? Like, y'all just such fangirls. Like, stop asking. Adriana, you had no proof. Adriana, I'm sorry, but you seem jealous. I don't care. And then she tried pulling out cookies because apparently she says that Larsa looked like the cookie monster in that blue dress that both of them wore. Whatever. That was a fail. The cookie thing was a fail. If anything, it was just a nice snack for everybody. You tried to get a moment. You didn't get a moment. The girls wrap it up. Larsa says, I just want to make more money now. Adriana apologizes to Larsa. Larsa's hesitant as hell because she doesn't trust her. And then Adriana gets up to hug her. I'm like, you just called her all this and gave her cookies because she's the cookie monster. Now you want to hug her? That's fake as hell. Anyway, whatever. Because like, oh, I like you, Larsa. I actually do like you. I don't want to argue with you. Whatever. And then the reunion ends with a shot. So overall, I'm going to hurry up and wrap it up because this video is too long. The reunion was good. I do love the conflict resolution. You know, at the end of the day, one thing I love about the Miami Housewives is that they don't let drama linger too long, and they always seem to resolve the conflict eventually. So I like that. I like the Nicole and Marisol thing. They agree to disagree, leave it alone. I wish more people could do that. But anyway, that's it. Tell me what you guys think, and we'll talk some other time. See ya. Bye.